A pleasure to meet y'all at last. And here we are with part 9 of 10 of the Vlog-a-thon. Now, immediately you'll notice that my clothing is different, the background is different, and that's simply because, well, of course, within the last day or so, we've had ourselves a lot of snow come in. I mean, last year it was pretty much bad enough when we had a lot of snow come in around April, and it wouldn't completely dissipate up until the start of May, but yet it's happening again now, except, well, this time it's a bit earlier in April, which could seem to be a good thing because eventually we are going to get ourselves some warmer weather, but until then we just got ourselves some more snow that we have to deal with. So, of course, now there's also something else that's probably going to be in mind because, as it turns out, 10 vlogs a day just seems to be harder than it looks. Simply because with all the time that I've managed to put together into making each part of the Vlog-a-thon, I have managed to upload 4 in total. I'm currently working on the 5th and onwards, but it is April 11th right now and no longer April 10th, so I suppose that would mean that I'm practically breaking through a commitment that I made myself, and so I failed at a commitment of mine. But at the same time, I just wonder that when I said 10 vlogs a day, I'm referring to a day that is 24 hours in length. And so I realized that after I uploaded part 1 of 10 of the Vlog-a-thon, I found out that 9:50 p.m. was the time that I uploaded part 1. So it does mean that I got some more time on me. So this way, up until 9:50 p.m. April 11th, I feel like it could still count. 10 vlogs in a 24-hour time. It would pretty much count still, but at the same time though, I did spend quite a lot of time outside in around the noon times just to record every one of the episodes that I was about to get. And then eventually I was going to upload all of them, but then there was just a lot of business that I had to deal elsewhere. But now that I'm back here, and now that I'm back on the Vlog-a-thon without any more interruptions, I feel like that now, 9:50 p.m. on April 11th today, is going to be my next goal. Get every single Vlog-a-thon part uploaded, all 10 of them, by 9:50 p.m. today. And so, I feel like that's my new goal. New plan, new goal, new me, to be exact. But here we go. This is part 9, and the subject that I'm primarily going to bring up is not about, well, the time, even though that was just the last couple of minutes, but it's actually going to be about a Vine compilation project. That's right, a Vine compilation project. For those of you who don't remember Vine, Vine was a website that tailored specifically to creators around that were able to make 6-second long videos and upload them to the internet, where they would get hundreds of thousands of loops. Now, my part of the Vine website itself, before it was shut down completely in 2017 in favor of a new Vine camera app, which of course failed in many places, so eventually they just took it off the marketplace. And of course, being that I was one of the best Viners around the state of Wisconsin, it was pretty clear that I knew Vine was going to be a really big deal even after it would just be closed forever in January 2017. On the day after it closed for good, Vine camera was introduced to the marketplace, and of course I did download it right after it closed, but it seemed that the Vine camera it failed in a lot of different categories and a lot of different perspectives, which really, it was really awful, because most of the time that we have an app with us that we like to have every single day, there's just a lot that goes into what we need specifically just to be able to experience the joys of such an app that would honor such an app that used to exist. And of course, the Vine website itself lasted for just over 4 years, being that it was introduced in summer of 2012, and I did not become a Vine star completely up until March of 2013. March 16th, 2013 was when the Kaiju Force Neo trademark name itself, was brought on to the world of Vine for the first time. And of course, just going back to Vine in 2013 really just tends to bring me back to all those other times in which that I introduced Kaiju Force Neo itself to the rest of the internet itself. 2008 was when Kaiju Force Neo was introduced to YouTube. 2006 was when Kaiju Force Neo was introduced to Twitter. And let's not forget, in 2014 we've had Kaiju Force Neo become introduced to Instagram. Although many of the earliest posts that came from the Instagram account of mine have not been around, simply because there was just a lot going on that tailored into how my Instagram itself had not been as active lately. But there's just been so much going on lately that I just had no idea what had to really happen for sure. But back to the Vine compilation project. After the Vine website itself closed in favor of introducing a new app that would give Vine creators a new experience to use for any time, any occasion, I thought to myself that after I downloaded every single Vine off of my account, which there were hundreds of them in fact that I managed to make over the course of 3.5 years minimum. I did in fact stay up until the bitter end of Vine itself. January 16th, 2017 was the last ever recorded date that any of my Vines would be seen before the website itself would be shut down and transformed into an archive state. But now, of course, it's going to be a much different perspective right now, because as of last year, Vine had announced that they're now going into an even more archive sort of state. It's not like the archive state in which that it just allows anybody to watch any Vines of any sorts, but instead, there's just a message that tells us that the creators of Vine thank us for our entertainment and for the creation of many different kinds of entertainment around the world over the last 5 or 6 years. And, well, this just means that you won't ever get to have a perspective on any of the Vines that I've made from 2013 to 2017. So, it's just a whole nother game right around here. There is a vlog that I actually had made about Vine itself and how I probably would consider removing my Vine account, but that's just going to be another story, really. That's just going to go about that sort of stuff. And I feel like I shouldn't have said that. I would have had plans to shut it down, but let's just leave it at that. The Vine compilation project was going to be something that I would really like to do for my channel, and I was about to have it uploaded in April of 2018 following the release of Avengers Infinity War. But unfortunately, the few things that were not working correctly were the fact that, well, the first and most important part was that any of the Vines that I had downloaded were not in the same format that Magic's Movie Edit Pro 2016 would allow. They would be able to read properly. They were all AVI files, and so Magic's Movie Edit Pro 2016 apparently does not accept that kind of file in any project of mine that I would create for that kind of software. So I was kind of just stuck with little options left. So eventually what happened was that after I kept trying and trying and trying to get the Magic's Movie Edit Pro 2016 software to read the files of every one of the Vines that I've made, it was pretty clear to me that it was just not going to work. Not at all. And so I just had no other option left. So, inevitably what I did was that I just canceled the project for good. Even up until today, I still feel like that should just be a little more exclamatory right there. Because simply put, if I can't really make myself a Vine compilation project, then, well, how are the creators out there supposed to recognize me all too well? But nonetheless, I still actually hope that whatever happens out there, I would actually just go ahead and try to see any of my work on Vine. But unfortunately, as I've said, Vine itself has an even more archived state, and now it's practically locked, so hardly anybody out there can see it. They can hardly see any Vines on any part of the website itself. Vine.co website itself is just practically shutting us all down at this moment. So, with all that being said, I just really sincerely hope that anything out there that goes on with anybody who remembers Vine the most would just seriously have themselves some explaining to do. Because, of course, you can no longer download your own Vines, and of course, inevitably what I did was that I just went ahead and took the entire file of Vines that I downloaded and just deleted them for good. Those Vines are now deleted. Those copies that I downloaded more than 2 years ago were deleted. It was as simple as that. That was just what happened, really. And so there's just really nothing else I can do. But there's just going to be no spot left in my memory that doesn't have any clear evidence that Vine was one of the best thresholds for me. And Vine itself had just been a really great app for many of us to use. And since I've been a part of it for over 3.5 years, it was just very clear to me that, well, even though I had more than 30,000 loops take place with many different kinds of Vines around, there's actually plenty of other Vines that I do have on my Twitter. And my first Twitter I'm talking about, at Kaiju Force Neo. There are a lot of Vines that you can still see, but yet, at the same time, it's just not as clear to me that if I would be able to keep them on the Kaiju Force Neo Twitter itself. It's just not as clear to me, really, because of the fact that, well, I just can't really seem to think just how the Vine website itself was like. And let's not forget, though, the Vine camera itself, for those who don't remember that app being around for at least a year after Vine's closure, well then, you would have seen for sure that even though the Vine itself had shut down, the website itself had shut down and the Vine camera stood up to replace it, I actually did use it a lot throughout 2017, and eventually what happened was that, well, every time I try to open the app, it just crashes. There had to have been some kind of bug that Vine itself did not fix. And so that was why people around were trying to reject the app left and right. And it's just actually been that bad, really. Ever since Vine's closure in 2017, it has just gotten a bit more out of control now. With the fact that now the Vine camera is no longer functioning properly, so even I had to go ahead and delete my copy of the app itself. So, Vine is going to be remembered by millions out there, but now that Vine is in an even more archived lock state, if you will, that actually does refer to how we might never be able to see any of our work again. They're archiving our work as if it's their own. I can't even see my own work simply because it just shows a message right on the screen as soon as I launch the website itself. That's just all I would be able to see. But of course there are actually a few things that we could do here. But I don't know how any of these options around would work. So it's just going to be as simple as trying to remember to the best of our ability to know that Vine was such a great app in the first place and had been around for nearly 5 years throughout the 2010s. It really shaped the internet to the better, and it really changed our lives for the most part. So I feel like that can just do for right now, but you're going to want to be ready because part 10 is going to be unbelievable based on some other kinds of work that I've done. So if you want to see more, go down to my channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.